Hi, this is Charles Gaudet, CEO of Predictable Profits, author of the Predictable Profits Playbook, and host of the Beyond Seven Figures podcast. I'm about to take you into one of my favorite outbound marketing strategies. So let's get right to it. All right, so as I mentioned, my name is Charles Gaudet. Now, people often look at everything that's going on with the economy and they put it into two categories. They say it's either a good economy or a bad economy. But neither is true. It's just a different economy. And I tell you this because we have to assume that the strategies that worked in a different market condition than the one we have right now may not work in the same current market condition. And so when you hear things like outbound marketing is dead, for example, what they're really saying is not that outbound marketing is dead. It's just that their strategy currently isn't working right now. See, outbound is not a strategy. Outbound is really just a category. And there are multiple outbound strategies within the outbound category. It's kind of like saying that inbound marketing is a strategy. Inbound is no more of a strategy than outbound. Inbound is a category, and there's a lot of strategies inside of inbound, just like there is inside of outbound. And I'm bringing you the market research campaign because it's actually one of the most robust and successful strategies that is working right now. So here's what we're going to be covering. How to launch the market research campaign at scale without breaking the bank. We're going to talk about the secret strategy used by the big companies to drive outbound leads, and how to warm your outbound leads and massively increase your conversion rates so that you're never selling to cold prospects. We're also going to give you a full step-by-step breakdown of the entire campaign so you can run it as early as tomorrow. Now, I will say that we are going to move fast. I'm going to move fast so I can give you everything that I can in the limited time that we have together. I am also going to just give you a friendly warning. This is not a strategy for beginners. It's an intermediate to advanced strategy, but I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible so that anybody can deploy it. And I'll give you the templates and a checklist and swipes and examples as much as possible so that it can be as easy as we can possibly make it. All right, sound good? So just a little bit about me. I've been an entrepreneur since the age of 4. Never had a traditional quote-unquote real job. After graduating from college, I started a company nominated by Ernst & Young as being one of the nation's best seed stage companies, and created my first multi-million-dollar business at the age of 24. From there, I continued to build and grow a number of different companies until 2010. That's when somebody offered to pay me to help them grow their business, and I started Predictable Profits. Now, over the years, we've taken many companies over the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies list, and just with the work that we've done, the International Business Times reached out, did a featured story on me, calling me the go-to business coach for 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and the busiest sales coach in the United States. CEO Weekly named me as one of the top 10 innovative CEOs to follow in 2024. In truth, I was ranked number 3. The number 1 guy was the gentleman who started ChatGPT, so I guess I'll give it to him. And then the LA Tribune named me as one of the top 13 experts to follow in a recession. So our goal today is to give you a strategy that is so robust that anybody with a baseline of skill can successfully run this campaign and generate a minimum of 1 to 3 appointments per day. Minimum. Now, when I say that anyone with a baseline of skill can run this, we have run this campaign with interns, college interns, literally paying them $10 an hour, and they were able to hit their goal of 1 to 3 appointments per day. We're even able to do this. In fact, we still currently do this with a gentleman out in the Philippines who is running this campaign for us every day as we speak. So you don't need to hire a 6-figure salesperson or whatever that might be in order to deploy this campaign. It is so robust, it is so systematic that anybody with a baseline of skill will be able to run this successfully for you. Now, I traveled with Tony Robbins for about a year and a half. And as my wife and I traveled with him, this was back in 2005, one of the things that Tony continued to repeat to us was that success leaves clues. And so I've continuously immersed myself in the study of CEOs and founders that have gone on to make hundreds of millions and even billions of dollars a year. And this strategy was born from just studying what some of these bigger, very successful companies have done. So let me give you an example. HubSpot. They ran this campaign back in 2021, around the same time when we developed the market research campaign, where they talked about not another state of marketing report. Really good, very detailed, build some thought leadership inside of this. And I'll give you a way by the end of this campaign to get resources, and I'll include this link so you have it within those resources. So we see that HubSpot is running these market research campaigns. They ran another one here, HubSpot's Research Global Sales Enablement Survey on modern sales leaders are exceeding revenue targets. Again, so they're going ahead and they're doing this, which is pretty cool. And so we also noticed that Drift did something similar, and Drift ran a campaign as well. So back in 2005, my wife and I invested somewhere around $250,000 to travel the world with Tony Robbins. And one of the things that we learned was that success leaves clues. And so I've continued to immerse myself in the study of CEOs and founders who've been extraordinarily successful, whether they're making multiples of 8 figures, 9 figures, even billions of dollars per year. And so when we begin to see different patterns and trends emerge within itself, we really start to pay attention to it, ask, what are they doing? And how can we incorporate that not only into our business, but also that of our clients? Now, we all know HubSpot, and HubSpot created this report, not another state of marketing report. Now, interestingly enough, as I saw this report, many other companies, Salesforce and so forth, have done these reports. I said, okay, this must be one of the strategies that is working well for them. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to test it and deploy it ourselves. So initially, I hired a librarian out of one of New York's libraries, had her compile a whole bunch of research. We created this brilliant report, and it did okay, but for the most part, fell short of all expectations. I couldn't really understand why that was. And so you can see here, HubSpot did another survey. And so while the survey itself is brilliant, there's a magic behind the survey that actually makes it incredibly effective. When we saw Drift's marketing leadership report, we noticed 100 plus marketing leaders on the challenges and triumphs and trends that shook up the professional world. You see, initially, after we figured the librarian didn't work, we thought possibly it was just the librarian's work. So then I hired another company, Ask Wonder. I had them do a research study. Then we compiled that into a report. And again, it fell short of expectations. But as I went back and I looked at the different companies that have been doing this, all of a sudden I got this aha moment. And that aha moment is, you can actually see right there, 100 marketing leaders on the challenges triumphs. And I got it. It's that they're having their prospects or their existing leads, their clients. They involved them. They involved their ICP into the creation of the report. And that's when I realized that in itself is what I was missing. And that's when we turned around and we redid it and we created this. Now, we've done many of these market research campaigns. It's just one that I happen to pull up for the sake of this presentation that we did back in 2023, the State of the Agency Report. 100 plus world-class agency CEOs share the top disruptions and challenges in 2023. And you can get a sense of, all in all, what it looked like. We discovered key findings, highlights, all this other fun stuff. It was our prospects within our ICP, as we interviewed them, that created the content, essentially, for this report. It was incredibly engaging and eye-opening and so forth. And that's where the magic actually happened, is when we involved our prospects. So in this report, we sent emails to our list and we created the report. We interviewed roughly about 100 people. And even though we made a whole ton of mistakes along the way, out of 100 people, 19 became clients shortly after receiving the report. And then several more there continued to sign up, and they continue to sign up as a result of this report and continuing to nurture the folks in front of us. So I'm going to give you access to this report here. All you have to do is, when you scan that QR code, you scan that and I'll get you access to that report, as well as a few other strategies in there. And I'll pop that QR code up again towards the end of the presentation. So let's go ahead and let's go through the details of what it's going to take for you to create your own market research campaign. First and foremost, it's what I call my pregame setup. You absolutely, positively must purchase a cold email only domain. In other words, you do not want to email from your primary domain. I can't say that enough. You do not want to email from your primary domain, because at the end of the day, this is still cold email. It has a higher than average rate where people are going to mark you as spam. And so the last thing that you want is to find yourself on any sort of blacklist. Purchase a cold email only domain. In other words, it's a domain that you are using for no other purpose but to use for cold emails. And you're going to warm up that domain. Now, there's a lot of wonderful services for warming up the domain. One of our favorites is a company known as Warmy. And I believe if you use warmy.io exclusive link, I believe that gives you some sort of free trial. But Warmy or some of the other warm-up domains, you want to do that because it's going to increase your odds of landing in the inbox. Cold-only domain, plus you want to warm that domain. If you go right off the bat and you email your cold domain, that's going to raise some flags. It's going to put you in a blacklist really fast. Then step one, you want to develop your ICP. So you want to develop your list within your ICP, right? When you develop this list, so every market research campaign that you do will have different results depending on the list. For example, we had significantly different results when we targeted agency owners than we did when we targeted management consultants or IT consultants. Totally different results. Some were more, some were less. So you're going to have different results depending on your market. You're also going to have different results depending on the title of the people that you're reaching out to. The more niche you can make your list and your report, the better the results. And you're going to want to make sure that you collect their emails, their name, and their LinkedIn address. Now, there's lots of ways which you can go about. You can develop your list. You can develop your list using a service called Task Drive. It's a bunch of virtual assistants that specialize in building lists. So Task Drive is one of them, Task Drive. Seamless.ai is one that we also use. That is also a fantastic resource. You can go to LinkedIn Sales Navigator, create your ICP, and then you can find all their email addresses and whatnot using Seamless. So, and there's a bunch more, of course, but you want to be able to develop your list, get their name, email addresses, and LinkedIn address. And then this is the one thing that we often find when we look at the different campaigns and people are trying to optimize it. We find that the biggest opportunity usually comes into preheating the list. Most people aren't doing any sort of preheating. They go ahead, they create this list, they blast out a bunch of emails, they get a low response, and part of that has to do with the fact that they've never seen the company or the person before, and the response rates are really, really low. We have this rule here at Predictable Profits that you never want to sell a cold lead. And in the image, you can see that under setup, there are three major components of setup. This is the Predictable Profits operating system. Of the three major components of setup, it's create, capture, and nurture demand. Well, the market research campaign allows you to both create, capture, and nurture demand. But the very first thing that we've got to do is we've got to be able to create that demand. And when we understand how to create demand, we know that the laws of effective frequency dictate that it takes 20 brand impressions to go from, I don't know who the heck you are, to all of a sudden, now I want to do business with you. And so we have to be able to create that demand. And an easy way to create that demand is to get to a position where people will ultimately say, my gosh, I see you everywhere. The 4 magic words, I see you everywhere. Step 1 is retargeting. Take the list of the email addresses of your ICP, the list that you generated, upload those as a CSV file inside of platforms, whether you're going to use Google, their display network, or you're going to use YouTube or Bing, or maybe you're going to use other services like AdRoll. LinkedIn is extraordinary for this. Highly recommend it, especially if you're in B2B. And if you don't know how to do any retargeting, it's as easy as going to Google, type in how to retarget an email list on whatever platform name it is. If that's LinkedIn, then put LinkedIn in there, and it'll give you all the step-by-step instructions for doing that there. So you want to create these retargeting ads. There's nothing fancy. We've tested so many different variations. If all you did was just create a brand ad with your logo, a catchy headline, even if it just takes people to the homepage, that's fine. The whole point of this is so by the time you reach out to people, they've seen your company name, and that will help to significantly boost your response rates. And then the next step is to preheat your list using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Now, I've trained sales teams all over the world, and I could tell you the A players are the ones that leverage LinkedIn Sales Navigator and maximize it as much as possible. And here's the really cool thing about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. It's an easy way for you to engage by liking and commenting on your prospects' posts. Now, just imagine this for a minute. Say you are prospecting a particular person. If most of your prospects, they're not going to get hundreds or thousands of likes. They might get anywhere between maybe, 3 to 12 likes. So you're prospecting them and you're dropping them a like. Over time, they're going to say, who's this person that keeps liking my stuff? And you're going to notice that the views, your profile views, are going to go way up. So they're going to start visiting your page. They're going to pay attention to who you are. So you're giving them a like. You're actually giving them something before you're asking them for anything. And then you drop them a comment. Not any comment like nice post. We're talking about a meaningful comment. And if you leave somebody a meaningful comment, more likely, what are they going to do? They're going to reply back. So now you've given them a like, you've given them a comment, you've given them a dopamine hit, and then by writing a meaningful comment to them, they're replying back, and now you've started a conversation even before you've actually asked them for anything. So now they know you. Hopefully they're starting to like you. And you're that much closer to the elusive people need to know, like, and trust you. And by the way, familiarity helps to create trust. So when they see your ads over and over again, when they see you pop up in their feed over and over and over again, that's when you start to establish that trust. And it's only after somebody either schedules an appointment with you or they reply back in a comment, do we connect with them over on LinkedIn and actually form that first level connection. And then because they have liked, they comment and whatnot, you have priority in their feed. It's just a tremendous way to be able to stay in front of people. So let me give you an example inside of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So you'll come over here. You'll go over to, say, lead list, and let's say you pick whatever lead list that might be, right? Just come over to lead list. You hit view. You can see this person has 4. And you go ahead and like and comment. Now, I didn't read it, so I'm going to be careful about liking it because I don't know what it says. You want to make sure you don't like and engage on anything that might be religious or controversial or political or anything for that matter. You're better off staying away from that. But you just go through and you could see, view. So that person had 4 likes. What is this? Doesn't even have, 1 like. You come over here, view. This person doesn't have 1. So again, you could see as you comb through, this is pretty normal, right? So it just gives you more ways to be able to stay in front and lay on the cool. And then the third step is we want to develop an angle. Now, if you can remember over here from Drift, 100 marketing leaders, right? So you could see from the angle, we'll do 100 top executives share the state of event marketing, or 100 top, or the whatever industry, the manufacturing industry, disruptions and challenges, the executive's best tips. Here's a whole bunch of different angles that you can use in creating your own market research campaign. Now, look, if somebody was to send you an email and they say they'd like to include you in a report where there's 100 top whatever executives, it's going to help stroke your ego. You're going to want to participate in that. So that helps to really increase the odds of getting a reply. So when you are developing an angle, you want to develop an angle that really gets your prospect interested. Not only do they want to participate, but they want to participate and they want to know the information, the results of that survey. Now, I'm going to give you an example of how effective this is. Look, if you know cold email or outbound or whatnot, you understand the importance of A/B split testing. Now, we just wanted to get this out there ASAP. So we didn't even bother A/B split testing. Now, I know we should, but we didn't in this case. But look at this for a minute. We reached 728 people. 140 people replied with a 19% overall campaign reply rate. That's 11% of the people replied on email 1, 6% on 2, 4% on 3. Again, 19% of the people we targeted replied. And of that 19%, the vast majority of those were positive. So how does that compare to your current outbound strategy? As you can tell, it's very effective. And if I know LinkedIn has this limitation, I believe it used to be 150 in-mails. Now I think it's like 50 in-mails. But if anytime you leverage LinkedIn, you're going to be able to increase that reply rate. Step 4 is now you're going to create your survey or your interview questions. Now you're going to want to start with some really easy questions like how many employees do you have, for example. And I'm going to give you some template for how to create these in a minute. But then you want to get progressively much more personal, right? So how many employees do you have? No big deal. They're going to go ahead and they'll answer it. But then if you were to open with talking about your challenges, you're going to get fewer people to comply. You want to make sure that you kind of progressively work your way through more personal questions. Now, initially, when you're launching this, the interviewer is going to connect with your prospect on Zoom. You're going to show the interview questions right on Zoom. They're going to read it through. There'll be multiple choice questions, really easy to complete it. And so we'll use software like InvolveMe or Typeform, and you go ahead and you can create it that way. You're going to see that the people who complete the survey ultimately are your most highest quality type candidates. Step 5 is, now that you've created your survey, now it's time for the interview. Our best subject line is just interview request. And you can see here an example of the swipe that we've used. Hi, so-and-so, I am whatever your prospect's name is. Now you want to, obviously, this is just an example. At the time, she was a third-year student at the Stern of Business. I'd love to feature you and the company name in the 2024 Agency Partner Program report, yada, yada, yada. It takes less than 10 minutes. Can I count on your participation? Just reply, I'm in, and we'll find time to chat. As a thank you, I'll send you immediate access to the report once it's finalized. Again, just reply, I'm in, and we'll find time to chat. And this is the one that delivered the highest reply rate. So really, really good. Again, if you're not getting a killer reply rate, you got to ask yourself, do I have the right ICP? Am I targeting the right market, the right title? Am I using the right angle in terms of the name of the report? Is the email being delivered and being opened? These are the things you need to look at. This works out really, really well. Are you doing the preheating? That's another part for getting the reply rate. Email number 2, if they don't reply, I'm hoping I use the right email for you. If you don't have time to get on a call, I have a 6-minute digital survey I can send you. I'd love to include you in the company name in the report. Can you let me know either way? Now, a lot of people are going to ask for the digital survey. Now, this is what we did for email number 2 to get people the digital survey. We've since really asked our prospector, let's go for one more time to get somebody on the phone before we jump right to the digital survey, because when we get people on the phone, about 67% of those people that get on the phone will be willing to jump on a subsequent follow-up call. So we want to get more people on the phone, but at the end of the day, if we can't get them on the phone, we're going to ask for a digital survey. And then email number 3, we just add some context into this email. And then from there, they're going to go ahead and we'll get additional replies that way. So when we conduct the interview, we'll say, hey, thank you for taking part of this interview. It's only going to take somewhere between 5 and 7 minutes. But before we get started, how much do you know about predictable profits and what it is that we do? And we do that just to give them a little bit of context about predictable profits, because it helps us set the stage. So at the end of the survey, when we ask them to get on the phone, they know a bit more about us. So we just have some context. Again, some of the sample questions, you want to start with a few questions about their organization. How many employees do you have? Or maybe what's the primary goal of marketing in the organization? Do you use an agency or do it in-house? This is if you're doing marketing. You could just got to make it for your own, right? But start with very easy questions like how many employees you have, and then make it a little bit more personal. But more questions about the organization in the beginning. Then you're going to go into what worked well and what they want to improve. What's your number 1 lead gen channel? What marketing campaigns are most successful and why? What's your number 1 challenge? How have lead costs changed? These, I guess, some examples just to get you thinking. But now we took them from tell me about your organization to now we want to establish some sort of bridge, the difference between their current reality, their future reality, what's working, what's not working. And then we go into the priorities. What's the top marketing priority for you in 2024? Are you going to increase, decrease, same level of marketing? Do you have a go-to marketing strategy and so forth? Now, these are strategies that we just sort of created in general. We work with a lot of agencies, so we use this as an example for a bunch of different agencies that we work with. At the end of the digital survey, now the last page, it says, please enter your info if you're interested to receive the results of the study and more information about the above mentioned challenges and topics. get their name and email, and the little checkbox at the bottom that says you can follow up with me personally to learn a little bit more about my situation. And this is really important because anybody that checks that, they want to talk to you now. So you go ahead. Now, what we did throughout the market research campaign is we created this itch. They started talking about a problem that they didn't even realize that they had. Now that they've talked about this problem, now they got to scratch that itch. And so the way you're going to help them scratch that itch is at the end of the entire conversation. You're not going to interrupt the flow. You're going to wait until the end. You're going to say, oh, you know what? You happen to mention that you were struggling with X. Now, we have a framework. We have a framework that can help you with this. Look, I don't know what her schedule looks like right now, but if you'd be interested, I can try to schedule an appointment with her right now to help you fix it so that it's no longer an issue for you. And about 67% of those people are saying yes in scheduling an appointment. The way this works, though, is it can't seem polished. If it seems very polished and rehearsed, then the conversion rates drop because it almost feels like, it's a gotcha moment. But when you're kind of like fumbling over your words and you're like, look, you happen to mention that you're struggling with X. We have a framework that can help you. I don't know what his schedule looks like right now, but if you're interested in fixing this so it's no longer an issue for you, I can schedule a call with a strategist. Again, boom, 67%. We had a gentleman who runs a PR agency who ran this campaign. He's a client of mine, and he says, Charlie, I got a problem. I said, what do you mean? He says, you didn't tell us how effective this is. We scheduled 22 or 24 appointments this week, and they're all back to back. I never scheduled any time to go to the bathroom. So this works really, really, really well when done right. If you can get them on a call right after the survey, that's phenomenal, but you can have many other opportunities to be able to get them on the call. And you'll be able to do that in other post-interview follow-up. But before we even get there, as soon as we get off the call with our prospect, you want to continue the goodness. Write them a LinkedIn recommendation. Hey, so-and-so is a wealth of information on the survey. Give them a LinkedIn recommendation. So you're giving them something cool. Then you're following up. Set the expectation when the report will be completed. Hey, we're working on the report. It should be done by June 1st, July 1st, whatever it might be. Set the expectations so that they know. And then remind them, you mentioned that you had that you were struggling with X, that you had a problem with X, that you were challenged with X. We've heard that before, and we've done a lot of work with agencies who have blah, blah, blah. If you're interested, I can set up a time with a strategist. Again, do that, and you're going to get more people setting up appointments with you. You're going to go ahead and you're going to create this market research report. And if you want to go like really ninja on this, you want to create a series of warm-up posts on LinkedIn where you're going to tag people who've contributed, drop hints that contain details of the report, ask people to comment if they want access to the report. Look for different engagement, and you'll grab that information and continue to share it. And that's just great ways to build buzz around this report as well. And then step 9, results follow-up. You send an email, the first email you're going to give to everybody who participated in the report, and you're going to give them access, and then again, further invitation to get on the phone. And then you're going to wait a week, few days to a week, and you're going to send a second email, this time a little bit more personalized to the problem that they shared, something maybe going on with the company, and then go again to invite them on a call. And then I would encourage you to go way beyond. You can create a landing page. This is phenomenal when you have this market research campaign. You have thought leadership. Create a landing page. Drive traffic to it. You can do a market research campaign with past clients that you're looking to re-engage. Prospects in your database that you're looking to bring back into the fold. You can use this as sales enablement for your current prospects in your pipeline. You can create workshops around the findings. Hey, we talked about this at a Larger scale, if you want to bring it back down into your business, we're going to do a workshop and we're going to discuss this. Workshops have worked phenomenally well for us. You can leverage PR. PR loves working with stats and details. Leverage PR and use that to create more buzz around this. So leverage it. Awesome way to establish thought leadership, expertise, and so forth. Massive engagement rate. You get people talking with you. You get people engaged with you. It's why it's one of our most favorite strategies. So remember, outbound is a category. And there are many strategies within the outbound category. I've given you just one example of a strategy that's working tremendously well in today's market, and I'd love to see you deploy it and succeed with it. So to help you, I've compiled a list of additional resources and a checklist. All you got to do is take out your phone, scan the QR code, and it'll take you to a page where you can access this information. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I really hope that this will help you create a more predictable lead flow and get you one step closer to a full pipeline. And for additional tips or information for growing your business beyond 7 figures, I welcome you to visit me over at predictableprofits.com and connect with me, Charles Gaudette, over at LinkedIn. Just mention that you've seen this presentation and I'll accept your request. So this is Charles Gaudette. Thank you for watching.